Hey guys, so I have another 2 clears for you guys for floor 3 of the limited time illusory tower. One of them uses HP Gojo and then the other one does not. For this one, your Gojo does not need to be A5. A1 works fine. I tested it with a friend over Discord. If you have A0 Gojo, I don't know why you would have A0 Gojo, because you should just buy his shards from the shop. This is one of the best units in the entire game in terms of raw damage, so you might as well pick up his shard if you can. As long as you're playing for like account strength and meta, that is. Which, if you're trying to clear these floors, I'm assuming that you kind of are. So yeah, get him to at least A1, even if you're completely free to play, it's very worth it. Domain Megumi is only required if your Gojo is weak. So because my Gojo is completely maxed out pretty much, I can use SSR Momo, SR Nanami, SR Momo in this slot instead, and it still works for me. But if your Gojo is much weaker, then it might not. So if you have Domain Megumi, definitely just use him, because he's the best for this stage, and most other stages. Gakuganji is replaceable. You can just put in one of the Momos in here if you don't have Gakuganji, and it should work just fine. Recollections, this is the best one, but you can use Curses and Bubbles or a Slight Gap on him. Either one works, but this is the best one, obviously. And then, yeah, in excellent shape on Megumi. This clear is actually very simple. The other one I'm going to show you guys, it doesn't use Domain Megumi, it doesn't use Gojo. It uses Teen Geto and Green Yuji. And that one is a bit more involved than this one, but it's not too bad. So we're going to stun this turn because... So I'm positioning Yaga here because on the burst turn, I need them to combo ult together. And if he was in the first slot, then Gojo's going to ult before I get Domain Megumi and Gakuganji's debuffs off. That's why Yaga's over here right now. So because he's placed over here, on turn 1, when I activate Unity, Toge, if I skill 2, it's going to go off first, which means that we're not going to get the Unity buff on the ult gauge gain, which means Domain Megumi will not get his ult by turn 3, and we don't want that, right? So we're just going to use his skill 3 here on the boss, so that we can use our skill 2 next turn and give everyone the Unity boosted ult gauge. I hope that made sense. So yeah, Unity procs, Megumi hits, and now next turn we have another turn of the Unity ult gauge boost, so we can skill 2 on Toge and get everyone that extra ult gauge, which you'll see is enough to get Domain Megumi ult by turn 3. Also, we're not conserving any curse energy right now because these side minions, they're going to drain all of our curse energy on turn 3 anyways. You see how because I did that, now I have ult on turn 3. Now I'm going to ult this guy. I'm going to debuff, but I'm not going to use my Recollection because these guys are draining all of our curse energy here. Okay, now we debuff the boss. Pop this. We're going to skill 3 the boss. We buff, and then skill 2 the boss. So now, again, this is the reason that we did that positioning, because now we can debuff with Domain Megumi, debuff with Gakuganji, and then our combo ults will go off together. If Yaga was in this slot, then him and Gojo would ult, and then they would get their debuffs off, which is not what we want. So, the boss has 8.9 million HP. I will overkill by a lot, which should prove to you guys that Lower Awakening Gojo can do it just fine. This probably hits for around, I don't even know, 17 million. I couldn't read that number, but it overkilled by quite a lot. So yeah, and I tested it with a friend over Discord, and he has A1 Gojo, and his killed it just fine. I think that did 24 million to the boss, if I saw that correctly. Anyways, that was the HP Gojo comp. And now I will show you guys the other team. Move Yago over here. Let's bring in Nanami. And then Teen Geto. And then Green Yuji. So my Yuji is A4, but that does not really matter. His damage is pretty mediocre anyways, so at least for now, before his buffs. And it's not his burst that's going to be doing most of the damage to the boss. Okay, so this is the setup. These are my skills. If you guys don't know what this Recollection is, it's the free-to-play one that they just gave us in the memory quest. It's very, very good on Team Geto. Okay, so we're not gonna bother saving any cursed energy because again, these side minions are just going to drain us on turn 3. So we're gonna immediately start hitting them. Ow. We're gonna hope he doesn't get hit anymore. Okay. That kind of sucks, but it's okay. Okay. Now we're gonna focus this other little one down. We want to kill these off first because their constant CE drain is very, very annoying. Then this. We're gonna ult this little one. Now we're gonna buff and heal, and then finish off this little one. Oh, we didn't finish it off. Oh, that's a misplay, but that's okay. Now we combo ult, and then we'll just punch. Now we start debuffing the boss again. Skill 2. Now we combo ult with these two. This will break the boss, most likely. Now we ult. Now we can combo ult. Oh, not yet. So it was very likely that one of these guys would just die during the fight, right? Which would mean then Gakuganji comes in. And honestly, that would be better because Gakuganji adds more damage than either of these people. So yeah, even if one of these two dies and Gakuganji comes in, that's fine for you. It probably makes your teammates do even more damage. So yeah, don't worry about that. We're gonna buff. And then we don't really need to wait for next turn, but because our recollections are coming up in one turn, we might as well wait. So let's just do that. And then you finish it off with a combo ult. Of course, if you have Domain Megumi, you don't even need Team Geto. You can just use Domain Megumi instead, and your Yuji should be able to solo DPS it with Gakuganji. Yeah, I can honestly just show you guys that too, if you want me to. Just in case people are confused. If you want to do something like this, you can. Oh wait, sorry, I brought the wrong recollection. For this setup, because it's not going to be a like turn 6 one shot, you'll probably need to bring this recollection on Gakuganji. Now we skill 2 on Toge. Now we'll do this. We're gonna ult this one and also debuff this one. Just put this on the boss. Skill 3 should be enough to kill this. Now we just build back up towards the main Megumi's ult again. We're not going to buff or debuff yet because we want to save our curse energy for the burst turn. Yep, we're just actually, let's think. This should be okay to use here now. Okay, now here we're going to combo ult with these two. Okay, we're gonna debuff. I'm gonna do one more skill 2. So we can ult with one more domain Megumi debuff on the boss. Honestly, actually, we're just gonna wait until next turn. Let's just ult with the 3 debuffs on the boss. It also lets us get off one more debuff on Kakuganji here. And we'll do this. This should do a decent amount of damage. And then again, build back up. Start buffing. We'll combo ult on these two. And then self buff. Now we combo ult. And this should kill the boss. As you can see, it works even if you don't have HP Gojo, as long as you have domain Megumi. And yeah, if you don't have Teen Geto, just as long as you have domain Megumi, it works fine. So those are 3 clears I showed instead of the 2 I said originally. So yeah, I hope these are helpful. Bye guys.